I'm running the show now.
That's what the first thing everybody heard, and we are live here on Plus One EXP for September's funeral party. Hey, everybody! This episode of Funeral Party, as always, is brought to you by our good friends over at Exalted Funeral. We're gonna have a giveaway in just 1 second by them. Sorry about the delay. Streamlabs and Google both apparently ran updates in the last couple of hours, and so I had to reset everything twice. It was an absolute blast, but we are glad to have you with us. If you want, go ahead and let everybody know that we're live here. We just tweeted out over on Twitter that we went live. Go ahead and hop over to @plus1exp. Let all of our friends know we're here. Jarrett, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic because it's Friday and it's been a pretty good week in EF land and in my own personal land too. So, yeah. How about you, Tony?
I'm doing pretty good. We are finishing up right now. We're in the last 4 hours of the Down We Go campaign. So my week has been good. We've been unlocking stretch goals left and right over there for that and talking about what projects are coming next with all that stuff. So I've had an excellent week, though. The last week of crowdfunding, you know what this is like. The last week of crowdfunding is the worst because you watch pledges turn over and weird things happen and all that good stuff. And it's the one part of funding that I've never been able to master all of my emotions around. The beginning, the middle, all that stuff's good now. The end, I still have no idea how to manage myself internally when I watch us hit a stretch goal, then unhit a stretch goal, then hit a stretch, like 5 times. But it's been an absolute blast, and the team has been great, and we're cruising in on the last few hours, hoping to hit 20K and 450 backers for that. But we didn't come here to talk about Down We Go. We came here to talk about the latest and greatest things happening at Exalted Funeral. So I'm super excited to dive into that. Again, for anybody who's joining us, this is our monthly web show brought to you by Exalted Funeral to talk about the whispers of things that have passed and the portents of things to come. I'm super excited to dive into that. We also have, this time around, you may have heard it at the very beginning, new music by our friend from over in the Exalted Funeral Discord. Halo Hand has new music for each of our different segments, as well as for our intros and outros. So go say thank you to them, show them some love over in the Discord later on if you get a chance. But with that said, let's dive right in, and we're gonna see what's on the hearse. And now because there's music, we have to stop and let the cool music play for each one. So here we go. Here's the hearse. We're gonna talk about what's on the way to Exalted Funeral, what's coming up. All right. So, Jarrett, let's talk about what's been going on in the world of Exalted Funeral, kind of what's on its way to the warehouse, the projects that are coming up, big news in the world of Exalted Funeral. Tell me a little bit about what we can expect, especially as we enter into the spookiest month of the year.
Spooky time. Yes. So we have a bunch of really cool things coming up. I think we're going to have a new spotlight release every week during October, capping it off with a really special one on the actual Friday right before, which we'll be hanging out on that day, won't we?
We will be hanging out on that day. That's going to be the spookiest day of the month. Cool. So I'm excited. So we're going to get to live announce a cool project, or it'll have gone live that morning and we're just going to talk about it. One of the two.
Well, ask if for the folks listening, within realms of ridiculosity, what outfit should I wear? What costume should I wear?
Oh, how's clown school going? That's my first question. Maybe
was really good. I'm waiting for the new courses to start in October. Yes.
Excited. You could dress up as a clown. There is both. Some people are terrified of clowns. Some people are mortified by the concept of clowns. Some people have real clown trauma.
We probably shouldn't do clowns on the next show.
It's a choice. It's a choice that you make. Yeah, it's a great in chat. Tell us, what should Jarrett and I dress up as for the Halloween episode? It could be a it should be a partner costume. It could be solo stuff. Whatever you think we should each dress up as long as mine doesn't make me shave, I'll do whatever. And so,
there we go.
Yeah,
so I'll be really excited because I'll get to wear the Halloween costume. We're not going to be doing our annual throwdown this year, so we're not really, girlfriend and I aren't really diving into costumes. So this will give her an excuse to like do some cool makeup and stuff on me.
Awesome. All right, so we've got a Robert Pollard outfit, Luigi and Mario.
Oh yeah,
Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, specifically with me being Poison Ivy and you being Harley Quinn. We've got a lot of David S. Pumpkin suit. We got a lot of ideas coming in here. A package damaged in transit from Thriftomancer. Too real.
I can do it. I can do that. I've got tape and cardboard. I can do it.
Can you give us any sneak peeks into any of those weekly reveals? Do you have any inside information that you're allowed to share about some of the things we could potentially be looking forward to?
I sure am. There is a wonderful person on our server named Kirby. Kirby, I hope you're watching. I know you should be off work by now. And their partner Kristen have done thus far 2, and there might be one more in there. 2-player like couples essentially games. Paranormal. I know a lot of people on the server have seen that one. One person plays the ghost, and one person plays the ghost hunter. And then Slasher is one person plays the baddie, and then the other side, the other group plays the teenagers running around. Really super slick, nice, awesome design and layout. Those are digitally on their itch. But we've got print copies of those coming to the warehouse. So next Wednesday, Paranormal should be up, and then the following Wednesday, Slasher should be up. Also, a fellow server member, Tanner Ye, has been working on a book for quite a little while now called Night Crawlers. And that, I'm not going to tell you all too much about that one. That's going to be a nice big surprise when that one drops. And then the actual Halloween release for that weekend. Just get ready to spend money, people. I know it's fun. I will say this: the colors are black and orange because it's Halloween.
The big reveals.
For that one, I don't know what I'm at liberty to divulge yet. So, Matt Kelly, if you're listening, text me and tell me if I can release any info about that one.
Awesome. Well, wait on that, Matt. We also had a bunch of recent Kickstarters. We talked about them last month that just finished up for that. Do you want to say anything about any of those? Small projects, right? Small projects.
Sure. Yeah. Herbalist Primer. Thank you. You all don't know how much, like, I literally thank you. Like, y'all just blew it out of the water. Like, that's like amazing. Herbalist Primer. It wrapped this morning. And there's a lot of work, still to go on it. And I can tell you that as one of the editors, I have seen the insides of a lot of it, and it is so fantastic because it's going to do exactly what it says on the tin. It's going to be that crossover. My girlfriend and I will go out in the afternoons and do our walk and our exercise, and I will then be able to like recite random facts about the trees in our walk park. Thank you, Anna. But yeah, Fiona and I are fiercely editing that. Jacob is working on the adventure zine and Anna's working on all the rest of it because she's a superhero wizard. Over in EF land, Matt and Kristen and I are kind of chilling out a little bit on it, but I don't know. I need to. I know I need to weigh the books. See, there's always something.
Always something to be doing. You gotta weigh the books. No, I was trying to not back anything this month because I don't have money, but I got to interview Anna, and once y'all dropped, I think I screen capped it and sent you a message. How dare you? When y'all dropped the cloth bound, because I was just going to pick it up later, and I was like, no, I need this metal foil cloth bound, and I need to make sure I have a copy up in the balm lab where I do all of my infusing of herbs into oils and then mixing them into beard potions and whatnot. I needed a copy for up there for sure. So I was super excited about that. Before we dive into a couple Innies things, anything else you want to talk about?
Black Friday sale. I'm going to use everyone's Discord names. Riley, Coyote, Offended Defender, Andrew Walter, Matt K are the crew behind ZOO, Z and 2 knots, which is a 0-level funnel for OSE. Coming up. I don't want to say too much about it. I've seen all of Andrew's wonderful pencils and thumbnails for everything, and it's starting. Yeah, it's coming together. I've read over the manuscript, and it is coming together. Like I'm super excited as someone who I've run a ton of DCC zero, funnels and con games and tournaments and stuff, like 500 some odd games over the years. I'm super stoked to see how this rolls into an OSE character.
And that goes on sale on Black Friday?
Barring catastrophe.
I would love Riley, I'm sure you're watching right now. I would love to have you and the whole team on to run that on stream sometime that week. Let's make it happen. Just shoot me a message. We'll figure out a time to get as many of y'all on possible, because I ran the Drain, which is a mothership. I'm really loving people taking the 0-level funnel concept. I ran the Drain, and I ran it for Through the Void, which is my little sci-fi hack of Down We Go. But it was such a blast to run, and it was so cool to look at what Ian had done to adopt mothership rules to being a 0-level funnel. I'm super excited about the box set coming out for that, all the other good things that are happening in that land. But watching people adapt the 0-level concept down for systems that don't inherently have that is just such a fun thing. So I'm super excited to get into that and see what we can do. That's awesome. Innies were a big deal. Well, depends on how we take it. We're going to be as charitable as possible. I'm going to be as charitable as possible. You say whatever you want. I think I should run the Innies stream from now on, is what I'm going to say. I think I should be in charge of the Innies stream. Gen Con, reach out and let me know. I'm happy to make it happen. Just, fly me out, put me up, and we'll make a much better experience. But Innies happened, and there was some good news for you, good news for some of our friends, some good news for Exalted Titles. Tell us a little bit about the Innies and how that impacted us.
Jogo Noguero's Halls of the Blood King won Best Adventure, and also Glenn, who did the cartography, won Best Cartography. So hearty thank you to Jogo and Anna and Fiona and Glenn and Gavin and Matt and Kristen and Becca and everyone who helped make any of those things happen. I know it's really easy to see a name on the front of a book and be like, that person, they did that. But it's raising a book is like raising a child. It really does take a ton of people to get these things done. Believe me, it's a person who sometimes bangs my head against my desk. I wish, sometimes it's like, oh, we could do this, with not even with fewer people, just whatever. But yeah, no, massive team, massive crew, digging it. Yeah, it was a good time. To me, it was the show itself was an experience. because last year was all digital, or sorry, all online, streamed. But this year there was I think the tech problem with the live component at the hotel, and then the other announcers at home and stuff like that. It was an experience. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I had fun watching it. I stayed up late.
Anyways, I'm super excited to see what more comes. I was super excited for Diogo, for also the Blood King. I got to play with Diogo the next morning. We did a little stream with some of our friends over in the RBGC community.
Nice.
And so it was cool to hang out with him, like literally after he got a few hours of sleep, and
Right.
woke up, and we kind of got to celebrate with him the next morning. So it was super nice. Any other announcements before we dive into the obits?
Did I miss something on the list?
No, you didn't. I just wanted to give you an opportunity.
Okay.
In case you remembered something. All right, next up, we're going to dive into the obituaries and talk about the nearly and dearly departed items in the Exalted Funeral store.
Ooh.
All right. So again, all the new music by Halo Hand. Each one got a little custom segment. I'm super excited about it. So the obits is about what has recently gone in stock or what's about to go out. Let's talk about the nearly departed first. So what are things that if people haven't put in their cart yet that they should head over to Exalted right now and check out because it's about to disappear?
As luck would have it.com, I went through and I checked what we were low on. And it's funny because the first thing on my list is the UVG dice. And I know a bunch of the gang were talking about those over on the server earlier. So those UVG dice are low, buy now. Can I be wacky waving inflatable arm guy? That's what it would be for Halloween. So yes, UVG dice are low. The fabulous Ice Fleet record and book by, and I'm going to mispronounce it, but in my head it's Kuan, Kuaun. Coming, we're running low on those as well. It's cool though because I got a turntable the other day for my office, and I'm going to listen to that after the show.
Nice. I have also picked up a turntable. I've also picked up a cassette player, and all of those things are not like I've had them at points in the past. I've gotten rid of them, and I bought more of them because now there's enough RPG stuff coming out that has has cassettes and record content that I was like, well, I might as well pick these up. So, but it's great because these ones plug into my computer, so I can play a record and share it with my friends if I want to, as long as I have the permission of the person who created the music, which they're always pretty great about giving you. And so that's awesome. Anything else that we should be aware of?
Two other things that are super low. The Golden Circle Tarot deck. I'm sorry. I always mispronounce that. Tarot. People laugh at me. And then Benjamin Wenham, hopefully you're watching this. City of the Red Pox, which is a super fabulous zine for Troika. We're running low on copies of that one. So it's I one day want Ben to write the entirety of the city of Antar. And sorry if I mispronounced that as well. Antar. But no, I absolutely love that zine, and that one is running low too. Hopefully we get a restock.
Awesome. I'm super excited. Anything that's dropped out recently that people maybe waited on too long, that just went out of stock, that if they didn't get it now, it's just too late and they can go cry. This is the morning. This is the morning moment of the funeral party.
Not that I know of. I didn't dive that deep. So please don't fire me, Tony.
It's fine. Just next week, do a better next month, do a better job. No, that's great. Well, let's dive into then our next segment. And we've got for the first time we've got our first eulogy. Here we go with our eulogy segment. We're going to figure out exactly how this is going to work because we have to summon our guest from beyond the grave. Not only is this a extraplanar experience, this is an extra temporal experience. So we've traveled through time and summoned this person back to talk to us after they've died in the future of causes that we know, and I'll tell you about in just 1 second. So here we go. All right. This month we are celebrating the life of Kevin Rahman. Kevin was a phenomenal creator, created Forbidden Psalm. We're going to talk about that hopefully if we can get them back with us from beyond the grave. If you're not familiar with Kevin's work or their life, a lot of we asked some friends what they had to say about Kevin. It was very noted that he was born in 1987, died in 2062. He was stabbed in the heart by a wooden stake. It was known that he's a designer and a saint, but since he died when stabbed in the heart by a wooden stake, it's unclear whether he is a vampire or a normal human being, because that'll kill either one of those two things. And so we don't know. Let's see if we can summon him to be here with us today. Here we go. Kevin, can you hear us from the other side of both time and the veil?
I can indeed.
Oh my gosh, it worked. We have the technology. I'm so excited that worked out exactly how we intended it to. So tell people who may not be familiar with you, who may not have heard of you during your life, who will now hear about you during your death. Tell them who you are, what you do, where they can find you online.
Yeah, hi all. I'm Kevin. I'm the writer of Forbidden Psalm and did half the artwork in it, and the other half is stolen from dead people. And it is a miniatures agnostic game based in the Morkborg world, which I'm mispronouncing, I am sure of. And kind of started creating this game this year and kind of first time designer really this year. I've not really done stuff in this space before. And it's been incredibly fun to do. I'm not just this pale because I'm dead. I was this pale in life, and that was often the reason people would think I'm a vampire.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if you want to pick up a copy of Exalted Funeral, I got a chance to look over it over the last week. It is available over in the Exalted store. I'm going to drop a link into that right now. It was super fun to read through it. I did screen cap and meant to post earlier that you 100% have a move called What We Do in the Shadows that is a vampire move that was... I did literally laugh out loud whenever I was going through, because I was not prepared for that moment. So I deeply appreciated that, if no one else did, but I'm sure there are other folks like me out there who did. Well, anytime we've got somebody on, we've got a couple of questions that we want to ask them about their life, about their death, about their preferences, because maybe some of this stuff worked out, maybe some of it didn't. But what did you want to have happen to your remains when you died?
See, the bit of me that's altruistic is like, give it to science, have some use from it in the future for others. But the selfish bit of me is like, no, stuff me and keep me in the house just to freak people out. Like, that's the fun thing to do, right? You can pose me and everything. It'd be really cool fun.
I love it. Like a very much a Weekend at Bernie's type experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I can be a hat stand, just dress me up in different outfits, that kind of thing.
I think a really great design challenge is maybe not the most moral, a Weekend at Bernie's style RPG that you have to play with a dead corpse. Like you have to have a corpse or something approximating a corpse in order to play it. It could be a skeleton. It could be, a full corpse. It could be, probably a fake one also too, maybe a mannequin. It's a great design challenge for anybody out there who's just looking for your next great idea. And so.
If I can interject, I was going to say, and also a logistics challenge, because if you put that at a high enough tier on as a Kickstarter stretch goal, what we need to do is we need to look into the legality of doing that and whatever the person's state is, and then a part of the pledge money for that level would go to bailing that person out of jail when they violated the, tampering with a corpse, human remains type sort of thing.
I'm assuming human corpse would complicate international shipping, though.
It might. I mean, I don't know. International shipping is really easy these days. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like, it's just flowing swimmingly. It's perfect.
People ship bodies all the time, though. Like,
it's true.
You'd be surprised how often you're on an airplane and there might be a dead body underneath you. I mean, it's just not an uncommon thing. Like, we don't think about it a lot, and there are laws and rules about it. I think selling the corpse is probably the problem. But as long as somebody who is next of kin is willing to participate in this, you can probably get it wherever you want. Be like, oh, we just want to bury them in wherever you want to go, and then they're gonna let you fly it. It's gonna be fine. And so
just say it's for science, and then surely that's fine.
It's true, as long as it's for science. What did you hope people were gonna say about you at your funeral?
God, that's an interesting one. I actually have no idea. Like, I hope they said that I was an okay human being, and maybe a vampire. That's about it. I'll settle for that. Yeah.
Awesome. What song did you want played as you were lowered into the ground?
I mean, it's Better Off Dead by Bad Religion. It's just a very fitting song.
Well done.
Excellent choice. What is the one what is the one game that someone else made that you want to be buried with?
Probably Mothership, just because that's like my go-to. Like, I've met some new people, want to role play. Like, I'm a sci-fi nerd. Let's get into a game that I can teach you in like 2 minutes and have fun within 3. And I'm assuming in the afterlife, I'm going to be meeting a lot of new people who suddenly got a lot of time on their hands. So yeah, let's go with Mothership.
Yeah. I mean, you're in the future. Tell us what your thoughts were about the box set that releases in late 2021 for Mothership.
It's rubbish. It's it's going to be great. I mean, like, the core Mothership rules are just so tight, and it's such a cool, fun game, and all the extra stuff people have made for it has been, like, across the board fantastic. So yeah, I'm assuming the box set is going to be equally kind of up to that level. And yeah, it's weird. It actually became the most popular role-playing game of all time. Overtook that other big popular one. Yeah, it's bizarre.
One.
It did take till 2061 though, just to be clear.
right before you died. If we all end up in some sort of Valhalla-like afterlife, which if we are or not, and I think this goes right into what you were saying, what's the one RPG that you want to be playing for all eternity? You said Mothership. Is there another one you want to have in your back pocket, as like, hey, we played Mothership for 2 decades now. We're going to take a 1-year break and play something else. What is it?
So many that I've been playing recently. Probably it's going to be a toss-up between Vasen. I've had so much fun with that game, and actually Morkborg. They're 2 games that are so kind of not rules light. I kind of hate that term, but they focus more on the narrative and just having fun and not worrying about like being a rules liar. And no one wants to be a rules liar in the afterlife, right? So yeah, it's got to be one of those 2 games for me where it's all about, hey, just have fun, play the game, and just enjoy yourself with your friends, and don't worry too much about, did you get that right, that mechanic right? Did you add the right plus to whatever roll you rolled? And yeah, just kind of leaning into that narrative and enjoying also the failure. And they're both games that have quite a lot of failure for the characters to kind of get into, but they make failure fun. And I think that is a huge mechanic for me that I'm enjoying a lot in role-playing games. So that would be something I'd want to do for eternity, is have fun in the things that go wrong.
Awesome. And then what's in your cup, since this is a Valhalla style afterlife? What's in your cup while you're playing?
Just black coffee. I'm quite a simple person. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Very big, broad question. What inspires you? Like, what are some of the places that you look around for inspiration?
So I think that like the core thing that actually inspires me is boredom. I absolutely detest being bored. I have to be entertained at all time. I'm a bit kind of weird like that. So if I've got like 5 minutes of downtime, I'll be reading something, I'll be looking at something. And that then takes you into weird and wonderful places, and reading, weird Wikipedia trains where you suddenly start learning about, 14th century Italy for no reason other than you're just trying to stave off boredom, and then that might inspire some mad idea. Yeah, so that's a lot of it. Seeing other just amazing creators. Like I said, I'm pretty new to this space, and seeing like the stuff from the Morkboard guys and from Mothership, it's hugely inspiring to see like this just amazing content that, like you said earlier, you know, you're reading a book, it's a role-playing book, but you're laughing out loud at it. Stuff like that really inspires me. Yeah, I'm British, so anytime you try and do anything serious, it devolves into kind of a farce, just nature of it. So Mothership, if I'm running Mothership, it turns into Red Dwarf. And games that I can like have that humor in, even when they're like trying to be serious, that really I find inspiring as well. So yeah, I think that's probably like the kind of things. But yeah, just staving off boredom is my main thing.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, we're going to open it up. We've got you for a little bit more time before the veil runs thin and you have to return to the other side. If anybody has any questions that they want to ask Kevin about Forbidden Psalm, about design in general, about what the afterlife is like, you know, what happens in the future, any of those things, go ahead and type those into the chat. We would love to ask them for you. Jared, I don't know if you have any questions you want to toss out, but also in a second, if Kevin can stick around for it, we're going to talk a little bit about industry design and other stuff like that in our Embalming for Fun and Profit section, so I hope they can. But like I said, we'll just see how long it takes for this tenuous grasp we have on your soul to relinquish. And so if you have any questions, let us know. Jared, any questions you want to ask our departed friend?
Well, I do want to say I didn't mean to totally miff that one segue into, you know, not mentioning In the Footsteps of the Mad Wizard, which is the sequel to Forbidden Psalm, which is amazing, Kevin. Seriously, as you know, I've spent a bunch of time with it lately, and just legit, like as someone who plays games, like it's one of the best parts about doing this is seeing everything new that someone does with it. But I wasn't shitting you when I said that. You know, there's a game called Dogstorm, been playing at conventions and stuff like that for several years now. I think Dogstorm's like 5 years old, but the way that you deliver the information for the setup for each of the scenarios in Forbidden Psalm and in Footsteps. See, Mad Wizard, start using the right acronym, Jared. MW. It's solid. Like I like in this one where the maps some are hand drawn, they're a little bit different, but it's the same setup on the page. I can open that and look at it, and I can set my pieces and do my terrain and stuff like that. So fantastic. And sorry, Mick Sam, we're trying to feed you really big files right now. I'm getting there. This is a big book.
Yeah, it's quite a bit bigger than the kind of core book, and yeah, kind of going into it, I just wanted to make something that was essentially, you know, you could pick it up, learn to play and play in 20 minutes. Like there are plenty of miniature games out there that have real complex depth of rules, and they're great. I wanted something that you could just be like, hey, we've got an hour, let's play something, let's set up and play in that hour, have a blast, do some stupid stuff. And yeah, so that fed into like kind of thinking about layout of the book and making it really easy for people to read and get into. And yeah, I'm kind of glad that comes across, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I read through the core rules earlier this week in probably 15 minutes. Like I had a war party set up and going like incredibly quickly, even my first time through. And I loved watching, like I love when people are building on existent systems. And I think one of the great things about rules light systems like Merkborg is that they totally let you like just basically say, here's a great framework that some people are already going to be familiar with, toss it in and get up and going just so quickly. So it's such a cool thing to see that happen. King Coyote says, you're still tired in the afterlife. That's a bummer. They want to know, are you okay? Are you just recovering on sleep from your exhaustion in on this side of life? Or are you just trying to avoid sleep in the afterlife?
No, it's I kind of often will say to people, you can sleep when you're dead. So I'm just catching up now. This is just, just kind of catching up on the sleep I missed while alive.
And then Capri Coffee Shop says, what's your favorite monster in the new book?
I've got a couple. I think so. one of them is it's called the Cathpluch, which is it's a Welsh word. It's this Welsh cat from mythology here, which is this giant cat born of this giant pig that King Arthur had to go and kill. And the reason I like it in the book is you just can't kill it, so you just have to run from it. And again, that kind of the stories you get from failure sometimes are the best. And this thing just will randomly turn up in some scenarios, like you'll do certain things and you might trigger it. So I quite like that one. I'd be remiss not to say the ones my kids helped design, which is the Acid Slime Bob and the Mutant Chicken of Kalkaroth. The Acid Slime Bob, I had to tone it down because my 8-year-old is brutal, and any monster that they help create is just like, it kills everyone. I'm like, you can't just, no, it kills everyone. I'm like, they need a chance. Nope, they die. And it's like, okay, we'll think about that and maybe tone it back a little bit. So I quite like that as well. And then probably the Aderenikov, which is this flightless bird that was used in the city to, it would kind of like a banshee, it would shriek when a leader was going to die, which allows people to get a head start on the process of electing a new leader, because that takes time. And since the city's fallen into ruin in the book, these birds are just scattered around the city now. And why I like them is they basically don't really do much, except if there's one on the map and somebody goes down, they just die. There's no like chance of getting back up because this bird's there. So you need to kind of shoot them away or kill them in order to stay alive. So I just quite like the idea of this like little nuisance bird that is just sitting in the middle of the map screaming at you that you're about to die.
Awesome. Love it. We have so Johan says, first miniature skirmish game I played, had an absolute blast. We'll definitely spend some time with MW when I get a hold of it. So that's somebody named Johan from somewhere. And then Trashorama may have missed the first part. Says, what's happening in Halloween for FP? Is that for Forbidden Psalm or for Funeral Party? Because both of those things would work. Let's go ahead and assume, since we already talked about our Halloween plans and costume concepts, what do you do? Any fun things that people can incorporate into Forbidden Psalm for Halloween specifically?
Yeah, I'm actually putting a mini free expansion out for Halloween that has a couple of extra scenarios in it just for people over Halloween, and they're obviously very kind of pop culture based. So there's one where you're in a cabin and there's a book bound in human flesh, and
that's so original.
I know.
Where'd you come up with that idea?
There's another one where one of you might be an imposter. It's in an Arctic research facility. Who can tell what's that's based on? So I'm just entirely being a hack and just copying films I've watched recently. But yeah, so there's a free expansion coming out just as a little like Halloween kind of thing, but also as a thank you to the community for supporting the game. I haven't finished the expansion now. Kind of just been working on that as a little fun side thing, just as a thank you basically for all the support people have given me.
Awesome. Love it. And then Bellarmy's wanted Jarrett to know that they just got their copy in the mail of Fungi of the Far Realms, because I know you were, Jarrett. And so, by the way, if you're just joining us, because I know we've had some people tick up in the last little bit, if you hit follow and then hit !Fparty, you will get entered into a chance to win a $75 gift certificate to Exalted Funeral, where you can pick up some of this great stuff. So if you haven't done that yet, now is a great time to hit follow, and then hit !Fparty. With that said, we're going to transition into our last segment for this stream, because we still are working a few more of the details out on our final session that we'll normally have, which is our crawling through the library. But this one is called Embalming for Fun and Profit. It's all about how the sausage gets made. Where's my scene? There we go. So this is a chance to talk a little bit kind of just industry stuff. If y'all have questions about how Exalted Funeral does things, about printing, marketing, or designing RPGs, this is your chance to ask all of us, whether that's me or Jarrett or Kevin, his advice from beyond the grave. He's got decades more experience than us now, so we're really going to lean on him in order to do that. But if you've got any sort of questions about any of the technical pieces that go into to any of that. If not, we'll just randomly ask each other questions. That'll be fun also too. But if you have a question, go ahead and type it into the chat. Maybe let's start with just Jared. Jared, is there anything that's come up pretty consistently in the last like month and a half that you think would just be good for people to know about the development process for RPGs that just seems to be something that a lot of people miss?
I mean, there's our eternal friend Bleed on layout in your finished files ready to go to printer. Sorry, there's traffic outside my window. Bleed. Our friend Bleed. Actually, I think a lot of folks have been passing around, how to properly export Bleed, both in Affinity and in InDesign. And then one of my favorite links is Mixam's actual page where they have the settings of required Bleed. It's really fun working with Kevin. It was really fun in Kevin's past working with Kevin. My present, so to speak, but it's a different Kevin. See, now I'm confused. This is like watching a time travel movie with my girlfriend because I'm just like, I'm good with it because I can accept it, but then she'll start being like, yeah, but what about this person? I was like, you're making me think. Anyway, past Kevin, it's really fun working with past Kevin because we're printing these in UK and in US, and thankfully Kevin is okay with me just putting in the spreadsheet the numbers in English units and metric units and stuff like that. So 2.2144 inches is 35 millimeters. I don't know. It's almost like there should be conversions for this or something. But yeah, no. Just and if you don't know about Bleed, well then find me on Discord and ask me all about Bleed. Usually when we do printing partnerships, it's just part of it now is I send people those same 3 links along with our our EF logos zip file. So got a nice little patter down for those of you who have experienced talking to me about that. It's just one of those things like sharing that information around. It just saves a lot of steps in the long run, and if you don't know how to do it, it can help you get it right.
Yeah. Well, and I need all that information from you soon. I remember when I told you were like, we're going to print in 3 different locations, you were like, I got all that info, so let me know when you need it. Because we're running 3 different print runs in a mix of different countries, and half of them use one and half of them use the other. When I say half, I mean America uses one and everyone else uses something different.
Half. Come on, man.
Johan says, if it bleeds, we can print it.
Yes, exactly.
No, that's awesome. Kevin, do you have any questions that you want to ask either of us? And again, chat, if you all have some, otherwise we're going to hop off in just a second because I can tell that the veil is starting to wear thin.
No, I suppose kind of just to warn you all about in 2040, paper becomes obsolete and we start printing directly onto human skin. So keep that in mind because that does affect the bleed a little bit. It's an extra 3 millimeter that you need to factor in. And there's actual bleed involved. So, keep that in mind. No, I suppose just for Jared, really, what's it like having to try and sort out VAT and all this international shipping and all that, like how, because we know that you're actually like 21 years old and you just artificially aged by this process, I assume.
I have nothing to do with the VAT. That's all Matt and Kristen, and I am happy. It's mostly Kristen. I'm happy that they're doing that. Some funny stories, like just that are just like, it's more like funny screaming sometimes. Yeah, cool. I hate you, Kevin. I mean, I hate future you, Kevin. You're still cracking on about that one.
Awesome. I love it. I want to know from Jarrett. So just coming off, we saw we saw Herbalist Primer do $800,000 plus of that. For y'all, I think like everybody's always curious, like how you go from there's the management of success process, which actually Anna and I talked about a lot when I interviewed her a couple of weeks ago, which I think anybody, if you're interested in what do you do when your project blows up, it's a great conversation to go back and watch. One of the main pieces of advice was don't feel like you always have to add more stretch goals or things. Like it's good to when you can, and if you have ideas that you can now execute, do them, but don't make stuff up just because you're having that level of success. Look at what you actually need to do, or just pay you and other people better. That's always an option. But let's talk a little bit about what are some of the things that y'all did from a planning standpoint that you feel like contributed to that success. Like what are some things that might be replicatable about everything, or people should be thinking about as they're going into a project to help it hit that? What are some of the key ways you manage that?
Biggest one that I've seen, that I've been coaching everyone who's asked, and you know, I know Zine Quest is right around the corner. It's September 24th, and I'm saying Zine Quest is right around the corner, but it is. It really is. Obviously, no official announcement from Kickstarter, but we don't get that until it goes live on February 2nd-ish, right? Between ARC and Herbalist Primer, like the biggest thing I think that I saw. Matt can yell at me and tell me I'm wrong, but is those pre-launch signups. Like as soon as you have an image and you know a little bit of blurb about it, you put that sign up, put that hey, because if you catch people, you know, in that first wave, then the day it goes live, they're like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like some people like us who are directly involved in this constantly all day, every day, we're noticing, you know, this person's launching this person's launching this, or we're having conversations with each other. Hey, I'm going to launch on this date. Well, you know, stuff like that. But a lot of folks they're not in the thick of it like that. So for them, it's like, if they see that, they do that, notify me on launch, and then they get that. And you can turn those folks into day one backers. That's your biggest, you know, oomph, getting over day one, day two, day three, you know, early on. Aside from that, Anna was super amazing with this one and could whip out graphics for us really fast as we started to tear through the stretch goals. Plan for those. You know, have your art department. And Tony, I know you have your art department yelling at me, I'm sure, because I'm like not supplying you with the stuff that you need. It's like, you know, it's plan for it. You know, it is better to not to have something ready to go and not need it and be pleasantly surprised by it, than to not have it at all. And like if the creator of the book isn't also a design wizard who can do that, you're going to find yourself with a little bit more lag time in there while you're populating for stretch goals.
Yeah, I'll give a little pro tip there. So I only put out our first, I think, 6 stretch goals on the first day because I wanted to see how well we would fund. And I knew a certain level that I was sure we would get to. Like if we didn't, I was going to be so shocked. And so based on that, I was like, here are the first 6. Well, I didn't announce 3 more until the end of the second day when I was like, okay, we hit 17K. Or sorry, so we hit 7K. That means we're going to do somewhere between 15 and 21 probably. And so now I want to drop these ones that are going to give people a sense of what that pattern is. But I have 4 more stretch goals that went up to $50,000 that no one besides me and our graphics department will ever know existed, because we can always do those things, you know, in the future for other projects. And so there's no reason to have put them out right now. And they're ones that I put up higher for a certain reason. One of those we actually moved over to a backer number one. Like you can be flexible with that. If you put it all out up front, then your success is oftentimes to be measured by how that list goes. And that can feel really bad. Or you can feel really dumb if you just blow through them all. And so just being conscious about how you manage on the back end, I think is huge.
Just to like add, you know, the second book, nowhere near Herbalist Primer in terms of level of success, but for me it was huge. It like, you know, quadrupled what the first book did in terms of Kickstarter and the number of backers and things, and being able to have EF as a partner on it just took so much of the stress off. Like I did the first one pretty much on my own, and I found it incredibly stressful and not that enjoyable. So actually reaching out to both EF, but also talking to people on the different Discords within the community, it hugely helps, because there's so much wealth of experience and knowledge that if you're hitting an issue or kind of banging your head against a wall, there's usually someone that's willing to chuck some advice at you. And there are people that you can partner with that are super worth doing. Like, a lot of people might think, I just want to do it on my own and go on my own, and I get that. But yeah, the whole kind of this whole second book for me has been such a breeze and such an easier process, even though it's, had 4 times the amount of people involved in terms of people backing it, and it's going to produce 4 times the amount of books, because I had I was working with the EF who know what the hell they're doing. And yeah, I could bug Jared on Discord and be like, hey, help.
Just speaking candidly, I've reached out about an upcoming project, even though I do it. I just managed a project for someone else and helped develop the project and does a lot of the stuff that they would typically do. I don't want to do that for every project. And when it's one of mine, because I help other people, it's nice. I think a big thing people think about is some weird sense of competition, which role-playing games are so collaborative. And it's there are going to be games I'm always going to want to put out with EF because it makes my life tremendously easier. And there's going to be other ones where I'm like, oh, this is one I want to do over here. It's a smaller project. I don't know if anybody's going to be interested in it. It's niche. And I just want to putz around with it and see what I can do. There's always going to be that give and take. And I think you got to decide when I want to approach somebody else about help. But if you've got an idea, like Jared mentioned last time, earlier is always better. And so Trashorama also wants to know, when a project blows up, what percentage is excitement versus fear?
99% fear. It's for I could speak for my personal interior was that first week, 10 days is just yeah, and then after that it's just sort of it's just sort of any sustained excitement. You're just kind of woo, and lucky my lovely partner doesn't mind to listen to me be this happened today, as we're on our walks and stuff. But she noticed, around the 2-week mark, she was like, you're getting tired of it, aren't you? I was like, not tired of it, just tired of that sustained So maybe not fear, more as just I just can't anymore, please.
Yeah, that especially the higher the endorphin rise as things are in the first half of the campaign, the bigger the crash as soon as things slow down or level off, because you get used to that level of stimulation. And so even if it's oh man, we've got $2,000 coming in every day, it's well, but we had 100,000 come in the first day, and so it still feels like this weird crash, and then you'll have these peaks and everything else, and it's a very emotional process that's a lot driven by just the chemicals raging in your body trying to tell you how to feel about things. And so that's huge. And King Coyote says having EF behind you takes off a lot of stress and lets you do the work with the rest of the team without distraction, which is such a great note. Well, that's awesome. I have had a blast being able to summon Kevin's ghost from the future and from another plane. Who are we having on next month? I'm just messing with you. We should be able to get into that flow so that we can announce it. We should be trying to plan 2 months out. So, unless you already know and just haven't told me.
Well, I know because I'm from the future. So
right, I have an idea. Who is it, Kevin?
He's going to put you in a bind. Don't ask him.
I've reached out to Kirby because he's done a couple of the two of the upcoming October ones. But yeah, no,
we'll see who it is.
Yeah, we'll reach out.
I didn't mention this earlier. Kirby is local, but we're both in Philly, so he's on the south side. I'm on the north side. There's no rivalry there, though.
Fight.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Right.
And so we need to hang out and eat tacos more. Again, I dropped the link in the chat for Forbidden Psalm. People, please go check that out. Keep an eye out for more things coming up as well on that. With that said, also, it is our last day for Down We Go. I'm going to drop that link in also. Would love to have your support over there. I know a lot of people from the Exalted community have already backed. We do have a 450 backer goal. $450 at any level will help us establish a mutual aid fund so we can support small and first-time creators who are trying to use our third-party license to do that. We're going to have a jam coming up for that. So even if you can only back at $1, we would still love to have your support to hit that 450 backer goal. And our last public stretch goal, because like I said, I secreted the rest of them, is at $20,000. So if you got time, got like 4 more hours on that. And then this evening, we're going to be playing the final crawl with Marcus and some of the other designers here on stream at 5:30, which is sooner rather than later. I got to get going because I got to get set up for that stream. Or just stick around, with all that said. But Kevin, if people want to, in the past, find you on social media, where is the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, so Twitter, Optimistic Nil is my handle on there. On Instagram, I am just checking what my handle is. Is that really bad that I don't know my own? Like, I'm not used to doing this, clearly. I'm Saint Imp, so Saint and then IMP. And yeah, those are the two kind of main places. Also, if you're on any of the Discords, like the Morpool Discord, the Exalted Funeral one, I hang around on there. I usually come up as Saint. So you can catch me on any of those.
Awesome. Well, I'm about to hit the winner for the giveaway that we're doing today. Obviously, Kevin already knows who it is. So we're just going to ask him to call. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm going to hit reset. I am worried that as I do that, it might eliminate the rest of the spectral energy that we have tethering Kevin to this plane. But we're going to hit it and see what happens. Kevin, if you want to make some sort of a screaming or horrible noise at this point in time, you can. All right, here we go. Well, the winner is Anti-Tim. Congratulations, Tim. Go ahead and shoot me a whisper here on Twitch, or even better, if you shoot me a message over on Twitter. We'll get your information to get you all squared away for that. But Jarrett, if people want to contact you, because you're not on social media, because you're sane, what's the best way to do that?
I wouldn't go that far. But yes, projects at projects at exaltedfuneral.com. Since last month, I've had one person follow the instructions. And remember I said, say the magic words. I want to make a book, or I want to publish a book. I had one person actually name their email that, and I was like, yeah, cool, set up a meeting. But yeah, find me there. Find me. Don't be afraid to ping me on Discord and ask questions about RPG stuff and other stuff like that, or whatever.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. As Kevin shuffles back off to Valhalla to play more Mothership and sometimes take breaks to play Merkborg and Vesson, we're going to bid him fond farewell. We'll see you in the Halls of Eternity at some point in time. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. Again, we're going to be back next month on the last Friday of the month, the final Friday, for for a Halloween edition of Funeral Party.
Yeah.
So until no, I actually have a thing I say here. I usually don't have sign outs. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up real quick. Where is it? There we go. No, that's the wrong one. That's also the wrong one. Here we go. All right. And remember, alive or dead, we'll see you at the next funeral party. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, there. See, there he slipped away right at the end there. We just in time.